you guys can all take a stand for someone who takes a stand for us. So welcome up, Monica.
Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
So glad that you guys are here. So excited to be here. My name is Monica Zanz. I am a coach, and I have been doing the Herbalife business for a year now. I am a mommy of 3. When I got on my program, I ended up just really maintaining a very, very healthy pregnancy. It was the best pregnancy I had of all 3 of my pregnancies. And then when I had the babies, my first 2, it took 9 to 12 months to lose the weight. And after baby number 3, it took me 12 weeks to lose all the baby weight. And I did a triathlon right after that. So really, really exciting. Testament to So I also have a master's in spiritual psychology. I've been coaching people for over 20 years. And what I love about working with people is learning about who people can be. Seeing people's greatness. Seeing people in the face of the most difficult, challenging experiences in their life and giving them the opportunity to see how great they are through it. And encouraging as they walk through something that they wouldn't otherwise know how to, encouraging and seeing that greatness as it evolves, as it develops, and the impact and the contribution that it is to have them had gone through that and be able to give away the insights, the knowledge, the awareness, and the lessons that they learn to be able to do what they do now. So you guys are in an incredible spot right now. I'm welcoming you. I'm thankful that you're here. As Mira said, you know, we have this amazing wheel, and you can look at the wheel, you know, you can look at each pie as specific and separate, or you can look at it for yourself as how do I have in my life all the things that I want working for me? You know, is the wheel a separate thing like, oh, well, you know, I got the personal development handled, I kind of have my relationships handled, I'm definitely living the healthy, active lifestyle, sometimes I'm getting the one-on-one coaching, and I'm on and off my nutrition. Like, what is it that really has you look at this wheel and say, everything on this wheel is handled? I'm consistent with the balanced diet and the nutrition that I want. I'm consistent with my personal development because I know the difference that it makes. If we walk into a room and there's a wheel on the wall and it says a bunch of things and we don't know how to relate to it because we see it as separate from us, it's going to be really hard to start implementing what it's about. But if you can actually see each of these things and then have a reason why they matter for you, a reason why they matter for the people in your life that you're touching, then all of a sudden the pieces of the wheel become the whole wheel. And the wheel really impacts how you show up in the world. So there's a couple of things that I invite people. Show me hands of people that are brand new, first time in the room. Awesome, welcome. So you know, you got an invitation from someone to be here, and that person probably is very curious and very interested in your well-being, very curious about the goals that you have and what you want to accomplish. And so one of the ways that I love to encourage people to show up here today is on the other side of the door when you walked up the stairs today to get into this room, there was a lot of life that was happening to you. There was a lot of life you were experiencing, maybe good things, maybe bad things, maybe challenges, maybe the long list of to-dos that you need to get to and you're kind of looking at your watch like, do I have time? And so what I would invite you to do is that list of things and that life and all that stuff is going to be there on the other side of the door when you finish today. And it might be exactly how it was when you walked up the stairs, or it may be completely different. And the way that it becomes completely different is really up to you. It's how you participate today. It's how you listen today. It's how you hold yourself and how you acknowledge yourself today as you're sitting in the room today. What one lesson is intended for you today out of all the lessons that you learned today? And how will you use that one lesson that you feel, gosh, this would be great if I walked out of this door today with this lesson. How do you then take that lesson and share it with someone else so that it doesn't just stay as information and a lesson and something that you have, but rather it becomes something that you can actually give away and something that you can really support someone with. And what I ask of you while you're in the room is to really look for, what is that one thing? What is that one thing today that would make a difference? It's not the only thing. Don't mistake me to say that it's the only thing. It's one thing today that would actually make a difference. Is it being gentle with myself? Is it being friendly with someone? Is it looking someone in the eye? Is it seeing someone in a way that I've never seen them before? Or is it being seen in a way I've never been seen before? Whatever it is for you, I really invite you, think about that as we're going into the conversation today. Because today my intention is really to provide you with a lot of value. It's also to provide you a little bit of a framework or a pathway for some achievements. And it came out of some of the lessons that I learned. In Herbalife, there's 4 events a year that really shape and support our learning and development. And we work in an environment where it's not just about go and do work. You know, how many of you have ever worked in corporate America? And how often have you ever felt like you show up to a job where someone expects you to do something to forward whatever their dream is? You ever had that feeling?
Yeah.
So this isn't about that. This is about a dream. And you get to create your own dream in it, and you get to then go create what the steps are to fulfilling that. And so often we get stuck because we're not fulfilling our own dream. So today you have an opportunity to take a look at how would I fulfill on my own dream? And what are some of the ways or access points that I may not be defining enough so that I know what next steps there are to take or what things to get out of the way to really provide for myself that opportunity. So in just a minute we're going to go into that. Now the other thing that I love is as you learn what you learn today, consider that in the next 12 hours is the most important time that that learning matters. Because that learning goes from what you heard to what you felt to what you process and synthesize to what you give away. There are so many times when I do work with people on their limiting beliefs where I understand from them that they run their life based on how they think other people want them to be. Who here has ever had that experience? Okay, about half the room. So when you live your life based on how you think you should show up for other people, it's very easy to forget who you are, what you want, and how you want it. And so one of the things that I love to make sure that people leave with is when you get information and you learn lessons and you make it yours and then give it away, you become the contribution. You receive the experience inside of yourself of being the giver, not because someone asked you to be, but because you learned something and you naturally then share. It's kind of like going to a movie that you love, or on a vacation that you love, or a restaurant that you love. It's really no different. But because it's a relationship to a restaurant, there's not as much attachment to it. But it's not different. You're sharing something you love with someone to make a choice. They don't have to love it too. But because you shared it, maybe the possibility of them loving is just a little bit more elevated. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to erase this little wheel for right now. But just remember, the wheel is in each of us, and we can create each pie separate, or we can create each pie together. One of the things that we learned about, anytime you go into a training, very often there's like, here's what there is to do, here's what's inspiring about it, here's how you get to work, now go get to work. Right?
Yeah.
The problem is, here's what there is to do has a million different ways to be fulfilled on based on every person's lifestyle experiences. If I were to interview every single person in this room, each of you would have a different way to accomplish the same goal. Totally different way. Some of you would do it really, really effectively with a lot of velocity. Some of you would procrastinate a lot, and it would take a long time for you to arrive at that goal. Some of you would get advice from others. Some of you would try it yourself, not do it so great, and then finally get advice from others. There's a lot of different ways that we do it, and the problem is when we compare ourselves to others, we think that that way is better than ours. And then we don't validate that there's a process we go through to get where we're going. So I wanted to contextualize that because what I'm about to share with you is my way. This is what I do, and this is what I think works really, really well. Now, is it tested? Yes. Have I done it with a lot of people? Yes. I've done it with hundreds and hundreds of people. So you can say maybe it has some value or some relevance, or maybe it works, but it's not 100%. I can't guarantee that when you take what I put on the board today with you, that it'll actually make an impact. I can't say that. But what I can say is when you take a look at what I share with you and make it yours, and design the process that's going to help you fulfill on whatever I put up here. And then you go out and you share it as excited as you would as though you saw your favorite movie or your favorite friend or just ate the most incredible meal you've ever had. If you share it that way, the chances of it happening, the chances of you hitting that goal, the chances of you staying in action when it gets hard are much higher. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm going to invite Blaine in just a minute to come and share with me the impact of this conversation, okay? Because I had this conversation with Blaine, and it was a powerful conversation from my perspective, but I'm going to have him share because he's the first person that I've done this with the way that I'm about to do it with you. So, in life, we have people that share with us things that happen to them, things that they've done, things that sound exciting, sound fun, sound inspiring, trips that they may have taken, different things like that, okay? Thank you, Robin. So we begin when we see pictures and we hear people share and we start learning about us in the world, we begin to form pictures. We begin to see life happen around us. Now when we're little, life is huge. Like anything can happen. Whatever it is you want, it can be huge. Anything can happen. And the older we get and the more restrictions, requirements, limitations, rules, objections, the more that happens, the smaller it is that we may see the world. Now, not 100% of the time. Sometimes people can carry that vision ability for a long time. But for many of us, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And then we begin to live in a world that's only about what we believe it is about. It's not about what's possible even if we didn't believe it. Okay? So the first thing that I say is really, really important to understand how to do anything in life, how to be successful at anything in life, is vision. If you begin to see things through your eyes, remember how I said your eyes may be limited. Your dad may have told you something, your teacher may have told you something, and all of a sudden the vision that was so expansive may have gotten a little smaller. But if you actually relate to people like the vision is wide open, that anybody that shares with me a vision is something I might actually be able to take on, then you can imagine that every conversation you have might open up and extend your vision. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So vision also provides freedom. Because when you have the vision, you're not trapped to what someone told you once upon a time that was their opinion. Okay? So vision equals some freedom. The next thing is that we want to take vision and we want to take a step. For those of you who have ever been here before, you hear me always say, well, what's the next step? And people say, you know, I really want to travel. It's like, great, what's the next step? Well, I need to figure out how many places in the world I want to go. Well, the next step is actually maybe going online and seeing what dates you have available that you could travel. Or looking at your bank account and seeing whether you have money and how much money you can have before you even look at where you want to go, because that might limit where you can go right now. So taking the first action, which means the very next smallest step. Every time you take an action, your vision stays alive. Because your vision is this picture that you have, whether it's big or small. Every action you take, you know how you have a to-do list and you check things as done? Every action that you take, when that vision happens, it can expand your vision. Because the next smallest step, when it's complete, and yes, you may hit a wall every once in a while, but when that next step is complete, your vision is that much closer to happening. Okay? Number 3 is results. Every time you take a next smallest step, you're going to arrive at a certain result. Now, when the results are bad, we don't count them. We say, that's not the result I wanted, so it doesn't count. The problem is that it counts, because that bad result, or that result that you judged wasn't the direction of what you wanted, course corrects you. It helps you. It's the most important part of all of it. Because it gives you the opportunity to step forward into something new, or get the advice, or figure out a new way, and it reinforces inside of you, you're not done. You're not at a dead end. So every time you arrive at the result, especially if you have hiccups along the way, you appreciate the actions, which grows the vision again. Okay? So as your vision grows and grows, and your actions get more and more and more, and you don't get overwhelmed because you only take the next smallest step, and you see that every time you get hit by a wall, you're gaining more results, because that too is a result towards your learning and growth and development. then all of a sudden what you start to form is belief. Belief that you can, belief in yourself, belief in others, belief in what there is to do next, belief in that there's something missing for you that you still have to find out. You start believing it. Every time you have belief, you have more access to more vision. So as this is a cycle, when you go from vision to action to results to belief, you end up with more and more and more vision, which then provides, naturally, more actions to do. Now the problem that we've experienced so often is the more I have to do, the more overwhelmed I get. Very often it's because you tried to do 10 next smallest steps before you had one result. So then you get frustrated because you didn't ever get the appreciation of yourself for hitting the result. You're in the middle of a course correction and you're piling on more actions because you think that's going to make it go faster. When in actuality, what it does is it trains your consciousness to not trust you, which lowers your belief and then diminishes the vision just a little bit. So I have a guide that is, you'll laugh when you see this video, that is a very, very powerful guide. And I think many of us will know who this guide is, and for many of us, maybe this guide has made an impact in your life too. This is a prominent figure in cultural history. And I want to invite you, as you watch the video today, don't turn it on quite yet, Parker. As you watch the video today, to really consider the message that this guide has for you. How would it enhance whatever in your life you're working on with the most desire for a result? Whatever it is right now that's the most important to you. Maybe it's a health result, maybe it's a financial result, maybe it's supporting someone in your life result, maybe it's clarifying your communication result, whatever it is, before we turn it on, just right now, take a moment and write down what's one thing right now in your life, not the only thing, but one thing that would really make a difference for you if you got a result there. So go ahead and do that. So, take it from Yoda if you want to. But belief really matters. The more we believe in what's possible, the more what we want becomes possible. So, Blaine, will you come up here for a second, please?
Yeah, Blaine.
Fortunately, he takes a program in a class with me, so when I call him up here, he's actually used to me doing that anyway, so it's not so much of a shock. So what I'd love for you to share is, we talked about this, and I want to share with anybody whatever there is for you to share about what the impact of this has been for you.
Sure. So, we had an event actually called LEW. For those of you who are new, it's a huge event, regional event for our coaches, and we have speakers from around the world to come and teach us and train us on, just life and the business and how to be successful. So, one of the biggest things he talked about was this, and I thought about it, and it crossed my mind and stuff, but I really wasn't applying it to my own life until I had dinner with Monica, and she sat down with me and talked about it. But I came in here, I had 3 ACL surgeries, and so I was really depressed at the time. I'm not very open to sharing with people what I was going through and all that, but it's obviously a big deal for me, especially back then, and I try to ignore it, but really I'm doing a disservice to people by not sharing what I went through, right? So she just helped me realize that my vision was so huge in the beginning when I started this, because I went from depressed to super excited, from unhealthy to really healthy, from poor to really great, making great income. But everything changed so fast, so my vision was just blew up, and it happened. Everything happened for me, but over time you get so caught up in the action and trying to see all these results that you forget to have more vision, right? So I was getting caught up in here because I was just kind of going through the motions, and she had told me I need to recognize actually my vision needs to be bigger again, right? So the whole part of sharing with my injury with people, coming from that place, is I can help so many people on a bigger scale than what I'm doing right now. And for me to not share a vision with people and not be open about sharing that, I'm doing people a disservice by not actually opening up for them, right? So just gave me a lot of different things going on in my head. First of all, I had to recognize that it was happening, right? I wasn't sharing and I was not doing well with that, so that had to change. So I'd say, like, if something crosses your mind, which it has this whole time I've been doing this for a year now, you just have to write it down and acknowledge it. Like, it crosses your mind for a reason, right? So just write it down and, like, acknowledge it. Don't ignore it. And so I've been actually dealing with that and trying to just process how I can start something like a movement to help better people that are going through what I went through, you know, knee surgeries, rehab, whatever kind of diseases, anything like that. So I've been working on that and definitely taking the action to just, you know, start. And so my vision can grow for me and my team and for everyone around the world. So yeah, that's it.
So I'd love to invite a few of you to share. And what you're going to share is that one thing that you wrote down. So definitely don't raise your hand if you didn't write something down, because it will be harder for you to share and make it up on the spot. So for those of you who wrote it down, write what it is that you experienced, and then, or the one thing that you want to get, and then you'll come up here and we'll walk through your vision about it, the next smallest action, what results you'd like, and then what belief you have and what belief might be required. So I'm going to call 4 people to do that. So who would like to come up here and do that? Jackson? Yes, go ahead. Come on up. There. Yeah, come on up. Right. Perfect. Thank you. Let's give them all a hand. I'll start with you. What's your name?
Allie.
Allie. Great. Perfect, Allie. So go ahead and share what you wrote down.
Financial freedom.
Okay, so notice financial freedom today is huge.
Yes.
Like, financial freedom is sometimes people's lifetime goal. So let's break financial freedom down. So let's keep it as the big vision. Like, if I had financial freedom, what would that provide for you? What would be part of the vision of financial freedom for you?
I guess not having to worry so much about.
Okay, so you're not worrying anymore.
Yeah, not
and what
worrying.
would you then go do? Who would you be on the planet? What would you go do? Whose lives would you change? What would you do?
Whoa, that's huge.
That's vision, guys. That's vision. When you get to have vision, and sometimes, so there's 2 types of people, for the most part, in this distinction. There's people that need the details. Who are my detail people? Who like details, details, details? Okay, great. And then there are people that love ideas and love big things. Who are you? Raise your hand. Okay, perfect. Great. So you're the type of person that loves the vision and the big.
Yeah.
Great. So then you'll go with me on this one. Now, there are some times whenever I'm doing this work with someone, it becomes very confronting, because if you're a details person and I'm asking you to have vision, it's like, well, what do I have to do first? And what's the next thing that I have to do? And then that'll give me permission to have this big vision, but I don't even know what all the vision is yet because I haven't done these things first. Who's that? Karen, I see you shaking your head. Okay, great. And that's probably what stops you, because you can't get a vision big enough beyond what you already know. So what I always suggest to people like that is go online and watch big videos. Videos about massive trips, videos about life of the luxury, videos about, like, or flip through magazines and start looking at things. And you'll start to open up your flexibility to see things that you wouldn't otherwise look at. It's almost like you're training your eye to see things that you wouldn't otherwise go pursue. Okay? So back to your vision, okay? And we can just go little by little by little. So the top 3 people, your like closest family or friends, okay, what would you like to provide for them if you had unlimited resources?
I guess, well, the top 3 people that I can think of right now, they're so limiting in what they believe of themselves that I can see, like, potential in them that they can't. Is that
What
what
would
you're
you provide for them? Do you see how quickly she gets stopped?
saying? A miracle? No.
This is like, who here has this experience? Like, every time you go out to do something, it's like something stops you. Some consideration, some thought, but there's this. So you're doing great. Thank you, Allie, because you're giving them a lot of value. Is everybody getting something from Allie? So those 3 people.
Yes.
Forget about their limitations, forget about who they show up as, and forget about who they don't show up as.
Okay.
You have millions of dollars in your bank account. You have access to amazing people, amazing opportunities, amazing facilities, amazing places that you can go and take them. Where do you take one of them? What do you do with them? Who is it?
My uncle.
Okay, your uncle, great.
Yeah.
Where are we taking your uncle? What are we doing with uncle?
Make him retire.
Okay, great. So you're going to set aside a bank account that's going to have enough money that will cover everything that he needs covered so he gets to retire.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Check. There's one.
Okay.
How would that feel for you?
Amazing.
Okay, great. Then, in order to get an action about that, what's the next thing you have to do?
For that to happen?
Mm-hmm. What's the next thing?
Like right now, today?
What's the next thing? Yeah, today.
Go out and meet some new people and try to build my business.
It could be, but that doesn't contextualize it as a goal, right? That has it be like, I could do that about anything. It stays as big as the vision.
Okay.
Uncle, hi, I want to let you know something.
Okay.
I'd like to retire you at some point. I have a big goal.
That'd be enough.
Puts you on the hook, right? And has
Yeah.
him understand, wow, that'd be great. Love that.
When?
Right. You're like, we'll work that out.
Yeah.
But do you see that that could be a next small step? You could also look at your finances and say, you know what? This is how much I'm going to have to make. That could be a next step. You could also say, I'm going to make a special bank account, and I'm going to put $1 a day every day. And when I can put 2, then I'm going to put $2 a day every day. And then I'm going to put $3 a day every day. And you could have that be, this is my uncle's retirement fund. Whatever the next step is, get really crystal clear and take that next step, and then the next step will show itself up. You get that?
Yeah. How do you get past the, I'm like, yeah, that's a super cool idea. And then it's like, but how?
You only take the next step. Don't think about the 10 steps. Only one. I just gave you 3 choices. Pick one. Pick one.
Okay.
Okay? Then the result is, what keeps you accountable to what you just said are your action steps? That will help you get your results. Okay? So if you call uncle, oh my gosh, now you're on the hook. You just told uncle, I want to retire you. So there's something inside of your being that then gets created as a means to attempt to get there, get that handled. Now the journey to getting there may not actually end up at that result. It may end up changing. But not being attached to the end result as the way that you declared it is also part of this process. That's where belief comes in. Believe that what you're supposed to learn along the journey to retiring your uncle may redirect what the goal is. It may. We never know what's going to happen with uncle, right? But as long as you believe that there's one next step to take, and you take the one little teeny action towards it, and you get one result. Calling uncle, that's a result. I called uncle. He now knows I'm on the hook. One result. That's it. The I can'ts only come in when the goal is too big. When the next small step is too big of a step, it's like, I don't know if I can do this. Instant. So every time instantly you have that thought, your step was too big. Just come up with a smaller step. And if you can't come up with a smaller step because you love big vision, then find your detail people. Who are you again? Put your hands up. Find your detail people and say, hey, I need a small step. Help me with the detail. Okay? Good?
Yeah.
Here, Valley.
I thought I was ready.
Great.
My name's Debbie. Hi.
Hey, Debbie.
I thought I wrote down $1,500 for my next check,
Okay, great.
or to grow my check to $1,500.
Okay, great.
I don't know
So
if that's big enough.
$1,500, if you have $1,500, what will it allow you to do or be or feel?
I want to get 2 kitties and not worry about being taking care of them or making sure I'm eating and they're eating. Something happens to them.
Okay. So this is not normally the direction I would go with this, but let me ask you a question. So you have 2 kitties, okay? What does that provide for you? What does that actually give you that you don't have right now? Pros and cons.
Someone at home I can connect with.
Okay, something to connect with. What else?
Someone to care for.
Something to care for. What else?
I just get joy from animals.
Joy from animals. Great. So care for, connection, and joy. Okay. What does it also provide you with?
Responsibility.
Responsibility. What else? Financial responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay, great. What else? So it limits where you can go and what you can do, possibly, unless you have someone that can take care of them for you. Okay, great.
So time restraint.
Great. So you understand that when you're creating a vision, you also want to understand whether it's for your highest good. Because if you have this really great vision, but it's actually not the right time, there will be a lot of things that come to you in the universe trying to block you from doing it. So I'm not clear whether or not getting 2 kitties is going to solve. I want to connect with people, I want to feel joy, and I want to be of contribution. I'm not sure. And I wonder if you could also get those 3 things handled by having a new friend. By spending more time with the people that you love, by inviting people into your life to contribute to and with you. I'm not sure. It seems like it would be cats because they don't talk back. And those that are cat owners, you might disagree with me. Okay? But they don't talk back the way a human talks back. Okay? And they don't always give you their opinions the way a human does. And they don't always make you right or wrong the way a human does, yeah? So my invitation to you is, if $1,500 would buy you cats, would it also buy you joy, connection, commitment, and the freedom to be able to continue to grow your wealth and your contribution?
It would allow me to pay my mom back, I guess, instead.
Great, it might. Right? It might. You get to choose. You each get to choose what's the most important use of what your resources are. But sometimes we want to replace pain and loneliness and sadness and frustration with something that we think will fix it. It doesn't come from them. Not the kittens, not your mom. It doesn't come from that direction. That's the beautiful result. Where it comes from is here. Yeah. So the vision for me, what I'm hearing you say, Debbie, maybe, is I would love to experience more contribution, more joy, and more connection with people. That's what I would love to experience. And then you get to paint a vision. What does that look like? Well, it looks like paying mom back, and it looks like 2 kittens, and it looks like a new apartment, and it looks like new friends, and it looks like this trip. Right? That's where vision starts happening. So look at what's underneath why you would want the cats to find access to the vision. Right? Then, the truth is, it's $1,500 right now. Let's just call it that, as a stair step to the vision. Okay? So, first of all, have you ever made $1,500 before? Do you know how to do that? Okay, great. So you already have some evidence for how to do that. So then it's, what's the next smallest step? What's something that you're not already doing that would make an impact for your next action?
Bringing someone new to every event.
Okay, great. So it would be bringing someone new to every event, okay? In our Herbalife business, when you bring someone new to every event, they have more of an opportunity to feel what we're doing, be part of the community, and really experience what this is about, because it's really hard to describe without the feeling.
Absolutely.
Okay? So that may be your next action. Now, as long as you're clear about your vision. So to me, your next step is clarify your vision. Get clear about that vision. Based on what we just talked about today, get so clear about your vision that you know where that $1,500 is going to go to the dollar. $1 is going here, $25 is here, $40 is going here, so that you create, is it really $1,500? That's like, there's the number, okay, that's the number I'm going to do. But is it real? Is that $1,500 really the number? Or is it 1,000? Or is it 800? Or is it 5,000? So clarifying your vision will help you get clearer about, is $1,500 even the number? And then you can come up with, to me, bringing everybody to an event is after you're clear about, what am I doing this for? Yeah? And then the result will be, oh, I have clarity. Once there's a little bit of clarity, you open the door to more clarity coming. Yes? And then that builds what?
Belief.
Right, because you believe it's possible. It's not an arbitrary, I hope someday I have enough money to be able to get kitties that will make me feel really good and I can pay my mom back.
This sounds pathetic.
No, it's not. It's not. That's not the point. The point is that we want to have that vision be fully realized based on what really will serve you and what you want out of it. Because you might get kitties and they may be a pain in the butt. They may rip things up and they may cost you more money and they may destroy your carpet. Like, it may not be as blissful as it would seem when you go and visit other people's kitties. Right? We don't know. So having the awareness and the understanding that what I'm really wanting to fulfill inside of me is this, And here's the ways that I want to do it. And here's the number that I want to do it with to start. Good? Awesome.
And that was actually super helpful. I'm just curious, is like, for you it's so clear to see someone else's distractions. So do you have any tips for us to acknowledge our own? You know what I mean?
Well, part of it is that I really spend time paying attention to me. So I really do a lot of work on where am I kidding myself. The greatest way to do that is think about all the times when you had an interaction with someone and you didn't get understood the way you wanted to. What was it about you that had you not be understood? Was there something missing in your communication? Was there something missing in your intention? Was there something missing in what you had to do to prepare to be able to be ready for that interaction? And that's usually where you start finding, you know what, I was pretending like I was this, but really I was doing this, or I was being this. Does that help?
Yeah.
And then the other place to go is interview the top 3 people in your life that you trust the most.
Okay.
Yeah, so someone that maybe you work with, someone that you love, and someone that maybe you sometimes have conflicts with. If you can interview them and find out who are you for them, how do you show up for them, and give them permission to really let you have it. Because it's not the truth, it's their opinion. It's not the truth what they say, it's their opinion, but it's something that you actually might learn from. Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Hey, Paxton.
All right, so mine was also financial freedom.
Oh, good.
And so,
So wait, let me ask you something.
Okay.
So while you were standing here,
yeah.
did you think about, oh, someone else's was financial freedom and Monica gave them some coaching, how would I think about it differently? Did you have that process while you were standing here?
I did.
Okay, great. So would it be more powerful for you to start the conversation, even though that was true for you at the beginning, with what's new now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that would have been you putting this into play. You would have been here standing inside of a vision called financial freedom. You would have been listening for what's my next action step, because the universe will provide it if you ask. Allie comes up here and starts talking about almost the identical thing, and I course correct her just a little bit, and now you have access to a little bit of course correction before you even open your mouth.
Yeah.
And then you stood here, and you went right back to the way that it was going to be before I ever talked to Allie. Right?
Yes.
And we do that a lot, you guys. You have a massive opportunity. Skip that part and go right here.
Okay.
Right here, right now, with a course correction. You already got the next smallest step. Oh, I got some more information. Let me course correct right here, right now. Great. Now what am I going to share? So what's your vision?
So my vision, or am I sharing the new?
Yes.
I was thinking of something new.
Yes.
And it was going into the action steps and was to really empower people and show them my vision that I have for them. And so when I was going through financial freedom and how I achieve that would be first getting a new client and helping them with their results, helping them get results. And so by me helping them achieve results, that also helps me achieve my financial freedom. So empowering people was my new vision that I have.
Okay, great. So perfect. Let's hear it. So notice he course corrected, but it's still huge. Empowering people, like I empower people too. I mean, like, it's huge, right? So, what about empowering people would make the difference for you? What do you want from that?
From that, when I can see someone change, so someone close to me, my sister, she actually just went through MITT, and her graduation was last night. And so I've always seen the greatness inside of her and the ability that she has to motivate people, and she can't really see it for herself.
Hasn't been
able to see it for herself. And so after the graduation was over, one of her fellow people that did it with her was saying all these things that I had seen in her this whole time. And so for me, that was huge for me to be able to like agree with someone else and how they see her as well. And so for her to have that belief again at the bottom that she
Okay, great. So
is like that.
he wants to empower people, but he's forgetting that where does it start?
With me.
So his story validated that it's out there for him. If you do things out there for yourself, then you will wonder, why at the end of the day don't I feel fulfilled? Why at the end of the day do I still feel like I'm by myself? And it's really because we want so badly for the people we love all this amazing stuff, but it's got to start with you. So to me, the vision is empowering people, and an access point is defining for myself, once people are empowered, what will that give me access to? It'll give me deeper compassion for mankind. It will give me more of a presence with people. It'll clarify for me intentions. What will it provide for Jackson?
So I think for me, one of my big things was overcoming fears. And well, I have this list of desires that I look at every morning and every time I go to bed. And one of them is to be courageous always. So like empowering people, it shows me that other people are being courageous, so it kind of gives me the belief that I can do it as well.
Great. So part of your vision is building the vessel of courage so I can continue to empower others. Okay? So the next action step, what's the next action step for you?
Calling my older sister in New York and helping her achieve a goal that she's been trying to get to.
Okay, so before that, what do you need to do? Well, what would you do before you call your sister to help her with her goals? What about yours?
Achieve my own goal.
So why don't you have a goal that you want to achieve, and maybe you can, in conjunction with her, hold each other accountable. But if you go off and try to achieve her goal with her, then what about all yours? And how do you get really good at empowering others when you aren't really empowering you to get the results or are you just assuming that you get those results?
I'm kind of working on them right now.
Okay, great.
So I just started last 3 days ago doing CrossFit. So I wake up at 5 a.m. and go in the morning. Thanks to Mel.
So the next step would maybe be put together a schedule that it's a no matter what schedule. Like I am going to do CrossFit no matter what, and set an intention around what's my goal about getting out of my CrossFit commitment. You see how if you accomplish a goal, a specific, signing up for CrossFit was one of the steps. Val telling you about CrossFit and what it might do for you was a step before that. You saying there's something missing and I need something, and sharing that with Val was a step before that. Before that it was something's missing. Before that it was, you get that there's everything that you do in life, there's a before that. So now you're doing CrossFit. The next thing is how often and how long and what's the goal you want to achieve. Is it a number? Is it a time? Is it a competition? What is it? So that you can then measure that success. Then you get to that result. You have more belief that you can actually help your sister achieve her goal. But in the middle of starting to achieve a goal, it's going to be not the greatest time to help someone else with theirs. Simply because we don't have that belief in ourselves that we did it for ourselves already. Good?
Yeah.
Nice. Let's hear it, Jackson.
Hi, I'm Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
My vision was to hit supervisor before extravaganza.
Okay, right. So vision is hit supervisor, which is a position in the company, in the marketing plan of the Herbalife company. So hit supervisor by extravaganza, which is the fourth of all of our regional events yearly. Okay. So what's the next smallest step?
I'm just gonna reach out to all my friends that have reached out to me already and invite them out to.
So you're going to do all of your friends at one time?
No one.
Okay, great. So do you see that that next step isn't fulfillable?
Yeah.
Unless you do a mass email to all of them and like CC everybody? Okay, great. So what would be the next smallest step?
Invite one friend.
Okay, invite one friend. Okay, who?
My friend Sandra.
Okay, Sandra. And what is your intention for Sandra?
To feel how I feel, to bring her out to Fit Club and just open up her vision as well.
Okay, so to share the vision you have, and maybe she'll see it. Or not. But you're going to share it by having her invited, and then hopefully she says yes, and then when she's there, maybe you'll share what your vision was. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, great. So Sandra is the next small step. What do you need to do before you call Sandra?
I don't know.
So one of the things that I love to tell people to do before you do anything that is communication is practice with someone. Share the conversation you want to have and what you want it to go like. I can't tell you how many times it's been more beneficial when I've shared with someone, not the person that I'm intending to talk to, share with someone what I want for them, how excited I am, and the person on the other end is like, why are you convincing me to go? Like, I am? I was just sharing, I'm so excited. No. You were excited about me going and saying yes. You were not excited in sharing. So that practice is a really good way to not be attached to what it is that you want from the person. Don't want something from her. Share, and what is available for her, if she's a yes, will come there. Good?
Yeah.
So that's a possible next step. Okay? And then the result would be she would either say what?
Yes.
Or no. Great. And then if she says yes, what will that do for you?
Provides my belief that I could get to a supervisor.
And if she says no, what's that result create?
I just provide another
A learning opportunity to look at what could I have maybe done differently, or what am I seeking to do next. Good?
Good.
So, Tracy. Did somebody learn something today? Awesome. Is someone going to share something that you learned today? Yes. Awesome. So, as I invited you at the beginning, when you leave here today, my invitation to you is take whatever you learned, whatever small bit, big bit, little bit, one of these steps, all 4 of these steps, whatever it is that touched you the most, whatever you learned about yourself, and try, if you can, not to share so general. The more specific, like when this girl stood up in front of the room and shared with me that she wanted cats. It really touched my heart because I saw that her desire to connect and be loved and to share her loving was the most important thing to her. And now I see how she's going to have steps to go and do that. That's inspiring. That leaves me feeling like, wow, I want to do that too. How do I do that? And then maybe I can share, well, there was this 4-step process that was talked about today. But when you share, oh, I had a great time. TGIM was awesome. You should have been there. It doesn't really do the difference for someone how to apply something that you learned, okay? So you guys are amazing. One of the things that I love to do is see people's greatness and encourage them to be it. I see it every day in people who have just the most difficult situations. Their greatness is there, whether they see it or not, and my job is to take a flashlight and show them themselves that it's there and it never went anywhere. So if you can do that for yourself, then you can give your flashlight to someone else. And in this world, that helps us light the way for the world. Okay? So, as I always say, see your greatness, be your greatness, and pay it forward. Have a great day, everybody. We're going to take a picture on the count of 3. Thank God it's Monday. 1, 2, 3.
Thank God it's Monday!